Hi, Damian. Thank you very
Hi
much
there.
for sitting down with me and giving me your time.
No problem.
My first question for you is, as a former winger for London Wasps, what was the decision to retire like at such a young age? Was this a difficult decision for you, or?
Well, in many ways, the decision was made for me because I hurt my knee so badly I couldn't play again. So whilst it was a heartbreaking time for me, it also made me realise how lucky I was to sort of achieve my goals and play for Wasps and play for England and meet some great people. So even though I was 25, 26 when that all happened, it was very hard for me. But also I look back now and I'm very grateful for what I did achieve in my short career.
Oh, thank you very much. What would you say is the most pressing issue faced by professional rugby today for the players in professional rugby?
Oh, it's a good question. I mean, there's so many things happening at the moment. Obviously, with COVID and the pandemic, the finances of the sport are being really tested because there's no crowds allowed back in. So there are some real concerns about, I guess, the sort of ongoing economics of the game. But certainly from a playing perspective, you know, as a professional athlete, you get to do a job you love, which is probably often seen with rose-tinted specs. But all of our players, men, women, 15-7s, they work incredibly hard to do what they do, and there's a lot of things maybe that you don't see off the playing field. Some of the mental health challenges that players have around, I guess, the increased pressures they have put on them as athletes. So, as the Players Association, we work trying hard to sort of promote and protect the interests of our players as much as possible, and give them help, whether it's on the field, off the field, whether it's when they have to retire, hopefully at the end of a long and successful career. Or indeed, like myself, you know, you get injured early and have to leave the game you love, which can be heartbreaking. So certainly there's a lot of things that go into professional sport that perhaps people don't see, but we're very fortunate. We have a great group of players who work and play in England, whether they are English qualified or overseas. So we try and give them as much support as possible to ensure that they enjoy themselves, because I think sometimes we forget sport is about enjoying yourself and about achieving great things, and we've seen that with so many players over the years. So we try and give them the best possible framework to express themselves and enjoy it.
Oh, great. What was your experience like after retirement that kind of instigated your decision to form the Rugby Players Association?
I guess I was really angry about what happened to me. I was 25, 26 when I was captain of the national sevens team. I got a very bad injury. I went to the rugby union, who were the governing body, and asked them to support me. And they, in not too many words, said no. So I was really angry about what had happened to me. And that inspired me in many ways to sort of do something about it. And I guess I was never going to be the sort of last casualty of professional sport, but there wasn't really anything in the game that was set up. So I sort of really went out of my way to sort of talk to all the international players who I knew well and I played with throughout the years, and said, hey guys, I think we need something here that's going to protect the players. So with their support and help, we had no money, we just had a voice, and I guess I was driving as hard as I could, and I was passionate about that, even though I was relatively young, and just sort of kept pressing away. And slowly but surely over the last 20 years, we've made some fantastic inroads in terms of looking after the players, in terms of how they're protected in the standard form contract, which is one of the best in the world, the insurance provisions. And I think if you think about a young player coming into rugby, you know, he or she probably thinks this is fantastic. You know, I'm living the dream. I've signed my first professional contract. And it's only then you start to understand that things can actually go wrong. And it's not the sort of glamorous fast cars, champagne, and all the things that perhaps people think about. So it's about hard work and dedication. And things go wrong. It's like any professional employment environment. So it's really important that we're there to represent the players, support the players. And I think now, as we've grown, there's 20 of us who are working at the Players Association, working across a whole myriad of issues. Whether you're 17 as your academy player or you're at the end of your career, you know, the Players Association is there to support the players and look after them and do what we can to help them, because every single athlete, when they retire, they have to get a job. It's the most extraordinary thing, you know. Any sort of sportsman or woman has to go and get another job. So we do a huge amount of work in that area, trying to help them find their lives and passions after rugby. So yeah, it's been a passion project for me since the get-go, and I'm very lucky. I've got a fantastic team who work around all of these areas. So the players are also very lucky that they have a great team looking after their interests.
Yeah, I bet it's just when all your life is professional rugby, and then injury hits you, which you're not expecting. It's just such a change of life. Support's really important for that, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that, if you look at the number of players who've had to retire early due to injury, or just, as the game gets more and more competitive, they just lose a contract, and maybe a player will fit in at one club, won't fit in another club, or the other way around. So, it can be a bit sort of hit and miss in terms of how players find their feet within the professional game. But I think what's really important is they know that there's someone there to look after them. So whether it's a case of very serious injury, like someone like Ed Jackson has suffered, Michael Fatialofa recently in Worcester, whether it's very serious injury, or indeed it's something as in they lose their contract form, what have you. It's just so important those players don't get forgotten about. And that's really our role, to work with them, because, when you have to hand back your boots and your tracksuit, and that's that, you then have to sort of think about, okay, what next? And through the work of our colleagues, we're doing a lot of work in that space to try and help players think about what life after rugby looks like.
Cool. Oh, yeah, it's great work that you're doing. Thank you very much for sitting down with me, and I really appreciate the chance to get to talk to you.
No problem. Thank you very much for the opportunity.